Or staying with economy and growth. In 2020, Nigeria not only turned 60, the nation's Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP, and the Vision 2020 program will end. To avoid delay, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, says the government has begun the process to create another medium to longer-term economic transformation blueprint. Now, this print is for a stronger, diversified and sustainable economy. Should the new blueprint be a 10, 20 or 30 years plan? We've heard 2040. Well, how much was achieved with Vision 2020? To discuss Nigeria's past and upcoming vision with me is Babajido Ogunsonwo, Channels Television's data and information consultant. We like to thank you for joining us tonight.
The pleasure is always mine, Millicent.
All right. So I noticed your something is missing.
Because it's a good day to be alive. I remember exactly a decade ago, I was discussing and analyzing the Vision 2020. This was launched in 2009. I also brought a copy for you, so we should celebrate life, first of all. But
so maybe that's really the question. I mean, what's happening to that vision, seeing as 2020 is just around the corner?
We've seen a lot of progress in this plan, but we've also seen some challenges. We've seen a lot of progress because the Vision 2020 report planned to put Nigeria among the top 20 countries in the world. Even though that hasn't been achieved, we'll talk about the achievements we've made and the challenges we've faced. But here's what I want us to start with, Millicent, and that is, for every vision, there has to be a mission. You know, if I plan to go to the United States next week, my mission shouldn't be going to Oshodi Park, because even if I get to that bus stop and I get into a bus, I will never get to my destination. So the first thing is we need to also ensure that we no longer just keep talking about the vision. We also need to talk about the means of how we should achieve that vision. That's talking about the mission. But let's talk about these first three things, and that is, let's take a look at the top three goals of Vision 2020, and then we'll look at the things that have been achieved and what has not been achieved. And if we look at the top three goals, goal number one of Vision 2020 was to place Nigeria among the top 20 countries in the world. The target then was to ensure that by next year, we have a GDP of at least $900 billion. The second goal of the Vision 2020 program was to ensure that Nigeria's economy was large, strong, diversified, Millicent, and competitive. That was the second top priority of those that created this report. And if we study this document, you see the third goal was to ensure that citizens' welfare is also sustained, and the target was to have a gross domestic product per person of at least $4,000. Now we've seen the goals. The focus should be, have these goals been achieved? And so I'd like us to also now take a look at all those things that, to look at 2009 when this report was created, and 2020 to look at if those goals were achieved. And if we look at that, you'll see, for instance, in 2009, Nigeria's population was only 155 million. Now we have 200 million. And we also see several other things that have changed within this.
Yeah, like extreme poverty has also increased. They say Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. But, you know, are we saying we should move away from that vision? Are we saying the governments, I mean, in 2009, we had a different government from the government we have now. Are we saying that's been the problem, or should we renew the Vision 2020?
The problem is not the vision, really. The problem, from the evidence, shows that the problem is the politics of blaming. A wise man once said Nigeria has the main campus of University of Blamitron. I said, what's University of Blamitron? He says that is the university where you can get a PhD of blame politics. And so Nigeria's politicians need to move away this blame game of leadership style of governance and focus on the solutions. And so if we look at and focus on the solutions, we'll then clearly see areas we've achieved and areas that we need progress. So let's take a look at 2009. Let's take a look at if we've achieved the goals of Vision 2020 before we start talking about Vision 2040. Did we achieve, has Nigeria achieved those goals? 2009, annual growth rate forecast based on this document was the country was to grow at an average rate of 14%. Now we're growing, excuse me, at 2%. In 2009, unemployment was 19.7%. The NBS's latest report shows unemployment is at 40%. GDP in 2009 was $295 billion. The target by 2020 was $900 billion. Presently, the NBS says we're just about $400 billion. The dollar per day poverty rate, which you mentioned about before, in 2009 was 61%. Poverty has not significantly changed between 2009 and 2019. Let's look at the exchange rate. In 2009, Millicent, it was 150 naira. The exchange rate right now officially is 306, 307 naira. Inflation rate is about the same. In 2009, it was 12%. Now inflation is about 11%. What about agricultural's contribution to GDP? In 2009, it was 37%. We've made some progress because the document said the plan was to move Nigeria from an agricultural-based country to a services-based economy. So agricultural was 37% of the size of the economy. Agriculture now is 25% of the economy. And as planned in the document, services is now the major part of the economy. One area that we've made a lot of progress is in 2009, the oil revenue accounted for 66% of total government revenue. Oil revenue today is below 60% of revenue. So we've seen progress in oil revenue. We've seen some progress in inflation rates. We've seen some progress in moving the economy from agricultural to services.
But that is 2009. This is 2019. I'm worried about what the future looks like. Are we talking agriculture? Does the future say technology? What's the future for Nigeria?
No one clearly knows the future. But based on the trends and patterns we're going, the advice to youth is there's a lot of hope. A lot of achievements have not been made, but yes, we're on the track of prosperity. The plan now is to look at, will 2040 or 2030 or document 2025 allow us to achieve that? Yes, we can achieve that, but the politicians need to ensure that they take out the university of blame and focus on blametron and focus on the mission. So the focus for Nigeria's future is the mission on the left hand and the vision on the right hand.
I've learned a new word today. We'd like to thank you, Babajide Ogunsanya, for joining us.
The pleasure is all mine.
10.